Welcome to Scamversations, the podcast where we untangle lies, expose fraud, and help you protect what matters most. I'm your host, Linda Roberts, and today we're talking about one of the oldest scams in the book and one that still gets people every single day, the lottery and prize scam. You know the pitch. Congratulations, you've won millions. All you have to do is pay a little processing fee to claim your prize. But here's the truth. You didn't win. You were targeted. These scams destroy savings, break hearts, and in some cases, leave victims completely devastated. In today's episode, we're diving into the psychology, the tactics, and the very real consequences of lottery scams, and how to make sure you and your loved ones don't fall for them. Stick with me, because if someone says you've won out of nowhere, your first response should be, prove it. Let's get into it. Welcome to Scamversations. Today, we're diving into the dark world of lottery and prize scams, those relentless schemes tricking people with promises of massive winnings, but with a hidden, sinister price.
Absolutely. And it's wild how these scams, especially target seniors and vulnerable folks.
Right. They start with that enthusiastic phone call that sounds almost celebratory. You know, the kind where you're told, congratulations, you've just won $2.5 million and a brand new Mercedes, even mentioning official-sounding names like Publishers Clearinghouse.
Yeah, and they often even promise balloons and a camera crew. It's like, wow, the scammer wants to create a whole show just to trap you.
Exactly. It's like they build this atmosphere of excitement. But then there's this catch, a so-called processing fee that's really just the first step in draining your finances.
Yep, and what's crazy is, these scammers sometimes even use convincing accents and caller ID tricks, right?
Very true. They often call from a number that looks local, but really it's spoofed, sometimes from an area code tied to Jamaica. This misdirection adds to the confusion, making it even more dangerous for the victims.
It's almost like they're engineering hope, you know? They want you to believe that this dream is real, so you let your guard down.
Exactly. And once you're hooked, the scam evolves. The scammer ups the pressure by demanding small fees at first, like $100, $500, and then these fees keep stacking up if you hesitate. It's a gradual trap.
I get that, but wouldn't you say it's almost unethical how they escalate things? Like they're not just after a quick buck.
Right. And here's where the pressure really mounts. Some scammers even threaten that you'll lose everything if you don't act immediately, sometimes invoking the idea of going live on TV with your check.
Yes, indeed. It's aggressive and manipulative, using fear tactics to isolate the victim. And I find it disturbing that they even instruct victims to keep it secret from family members.
Absolutely. And that isolation is a key element. They want you alone, so you can't get a second opinion or help. It's a calculated move to maintain control.
But here's something I always think about. If the prize is truly life-changing, why require extra money? You'd think true winners wouldn't have to pay ever.
That's the point, isn't it? Legitimate lotteries never ask for payments up front. And that small fee, which might even start as just a few $100s, often snowballs into a financial trap that can drain an entire life savings over time.
It's almost parasitic. The scammer just keeps coming back, expecting more payments.
Right. They employ what's known as reloading. Once you make that initial payment, they're likely to return with new demands. It's a vicious cycle.
And speaking of cycles, let's talk about the inner workings behind these scams. They're often not run by a single lone wolf, but by call centers or even small gangs, many operating out of Jamaica.
Yes, exactly. Many of these operations are organized groups that use scripts and rotating phone numbers. It's like a well-oiled machine set up purely to, exploit trust and hope.
And what really gets me is the emotional manipulation. Victims, many elderly, end up losing not just money, but their entire sense of security.
They experience daily calls, repeated pressures, and even paternalistic instructions to lie to loved ones. It's a systematic undermining of their self-esteem and finances.
Right. And upside of their operations is that they, adapt over time, don't they? They tweak the scripts, change numbers, and always stay a step ahead of public awareness.
Exactly. Their adaptability is one of the scariest parts since it makes it hard for authorities and even friends and family to provide effective, sustained warnings.
Yeah. So when we look at how to protect against these scams, what's our best advice?
The first piece of advice is never ever pay if you're promised a prize.
Mm-hmm.
Legitimate winnings don't come with hidden fees.
And you have to be wary about caller ID too. Scammers can easily fake a number to appear local or official.
Right. It's critical to not share personal information with anyone calling unexpectedly.
Yes, that's key.
Always verify by hanging up and calling back using an official number like the one on a verified website.
And having a trusted family member or friend to consult with is such a lifesaver, right?
Exactly. Isolation is a huge red flag. If someone tells you it's confidential, that should set off alarm bells immediately.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But what about those who have already fallen for the scam? What options do they have?
It's tough, but there are a few steps. They should first off report the call and any payments to the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Right.
Also, reaching out to trusted agencies or local law enforcement can sometimes plug the gap.
And what about raising public awareness? I mean, these scams keep evolving and targeting new individuals.
Absolutely. Sharing the knowledge helps protect those who might not be tech savvy or are more trusting.
Yes, exactly.
It's all about community vigilance and speaking up before too many fall victim.
I must say, though, sometimes it feels frustrating that even with all these tips, so many people are still being caught in these traps.
True. And here's where we need to challenge the notion that scammers are just luck-driven. It's a deliberate, engineered process, meticulously planned to exploit human emotions and trust. It's truly disheartening.
And also, these scams aren't just random. They're, systematic. From scripted calls to persistent follow-ups, it's a whole playbook designed to drain the victim repeatedly.
Exactly. These scammers might even target a person repeatedly over years until they're completely drained. That's why public education and continuous warnings are so crucial.
So in the end, the best defense is awareness and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right. Simply put, if you ever get a call claiming you've won a fortune, but you're asked to pay first, hang up immediately. Trust, but verify.
And let's use our conversation to remind our communities to share information and look out for each other.
Absolutely. Staying alert and informed is our strongest shield against these predatory scams.
For sure, indeed.
Thank you for listening, and remember, when something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And that wraps up this episode of Scamversations. The truth is, lottery and prize scams work because they tap into hope, excitement, and the dream of finally catching a break. But behind that shiny promise is a trap. And once you're in it, it can be hard to find your way out. If today's episode helped you spot the signs or opened your eyes to something you hadn't considered before, please share it, talk about it, and most importantly, check in on the people in your life who scammers might target. Awareness saves lives and savings. A heartfelt thank you to all of our Linda Girls members, our returning supporters, and especially to our new subscribers this month. Your support helps us shine a light on the darkest corners of online fraud. And don't forget, 10% of all revenue from this channel goes to the American Museum of Natural History. Because while scammers get nothing, science and education always win. Make sure to follow the podcast, leave a review, and join us next time on Scamversations, where we turn every scam into a story worth hearing and every call into a cautionary tale.
Love watching our content? Watch more online at lrces.tv. Linda Roberts calls scammers television, outsmarting scammers Linda's way.